What's up, Brew Crew? Welcome back to Beer City Board Games. Today we are continuing my top 100 board games of all time. And if you're new here, welcome. In this video, we are closing out the bottom half of the list with numbers 60 to 51. This is a very personal list of the games that I love, the ones that have stuck with me and hit the table again and again, or created moments that I still talk about. These are games that I don't just enjoy, they're games that I actively want to play. Games that I will happily suggest, and games that would absolutely hurt to see leave my collection. As always, this is my list, not an objective ranking, so I'd love to hear where you agree, where you disagree, and which of your personal favorites you think are still to come. Also, if you've been following along and trying to guess the game covers for each number, drop a comment and let us know how many you got right. All right, let's jump back in.
60.
Number 60 is Project Elite. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you probably won't be shocked to hear that I really like games that are a little bit stressful. And Project Elite is stress in board game form. It is a real-time cooperative dice game where players are elite soldiers fighting off waves of aliens while trying to complete objectives before everything goes completely sideways. You've got a few minutes to plan, but once that timer starts, everybody starts frantically rolling dice, calling out threats, and activating the enemies. You'll be spending die results to try to clear out the alien hordes, search for better gear, and basically just try to survive and keep from getting completely overrun. And that's really the key here. This game feels fast. You're not calmly optimizing a turn. You are reacting, adapting, and occasionally panicking when the dice don't cooperate. But when it does come together, it's incredibly satisfying. What keeps Project Elite on my list is how well it balances the chaos with control. Yeah, it's loud. Yeah, it's messy. But it's also surprisingly tactical once you understand how to manage positioning, enemy priority, and your limited real-time windows. The fact that the real-time part of the game only happens in 2-minute bursts really helps, because otherwise I think this game might give me a heart attack. It's not a game I want to play every week, but when I'm in the mood for something intense, cinematic, and just a little bit unhinged, Project Elite absolutely delivers.
59.
At number 59, we have Eldritch Horror, a game that has absolutely no interest in you winning. Eldritch Horror is a globe-trotting cooperative game where players take on the roles of investigators, attempting to stop an ancient one from awakening and destroying the world. You'll travel across the map, fight monsters, close gates, and slowly watch everything unravel anyway. This is a big, sprawling game that tells an epic story better than almost anything else I own. Every playthrough generates moments you remember, heroic sacrifices, last-second victories, and more crushing defeats than I'd care to admit. Mechanically, it's not the tightest co-op game out there, and it definitely leans hard on card draws and randomness, but what Eldritch Horror excels at is the theme. It feels oppressive, it feels unfair, it feels like you are always one bad Mythos card away from disaster. And yet, despite all of that, I keep coming back to it. Eldritch Horror earns its place here because when it hits the table, it creates an experience. One that's tense, narrative-driven, and deeply memorable. Even if that memory is mostly, wow, we never stood a chance. Going back to our early days of gaming, Jen and I loved Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, and while I still own it, Eldritch Horror is the Arkham Files game that I typically reach for now.
58.
Coming in at number 58 is Expeditions, a game that took me a little while to fully appreciate, but once it clicked, it really stuck with me. Set in the same universe as Scythe, Expeditions is a competitive exploration game where players venture into mysterious, corrupted landscapes, upgrading their mechs, completing quests, and uncovering secrets buried in the tundra. Expeditions isn't really about explosive turns or massive confrontations. It's about incremental engine building, smart card play, and efficient action selection. What I love most are the constraints that the game places on you. Every decision matters, whether it's which card to play, which path to take, or when to pull back and consolidate your gains. It's very easy to find yourself in a situation where you can't play the card you need or take the action you need to take. And while the game rewards planning, there's still room to adapt. Expedition earns its spot here because it offers thoughtful, strategic experience that feels distinct, even within a familiar world. It's satisfying and it rewards repeated plays in a way that I really appreciate.
57.
At number 57, we have Furnace, a game that proves that you don't need a massive box or a 3-hour runtime to deliver something deeply clever. Furnace is an economic engine building game built around a sharp and highly interactive auction system. Each round, players bid on industry cards using numbered tokens, but losing a bid isn't necessarily a bad thing. Instead, you'll gain compensation based on the strength of your bid, which keeps everyone engaged every single turn. In fact, many times you would prefer to lose a bid so that you can gain the resources that you'll need to run your engine later. What I really love about Furnace is how much tension it creates with such simple rules. You're always deciding not just what you want, but guessing what everyone else might be willing to pay, and whether losing on purpose might actually be the better play. It's fast, it's interactive, and so satisfying when your engine clicks into place. Furnace earns its spot here because it delivers meaningful decisions and high interaction in a compact, elegant, quick-to-play package.
56.
Coming in at number 56 is Ostia, a game that doesn't get talked out nearly enough in my opinion, and that's a real shame. It's a resource management and route building game set in the ancient Roman port city of the same name. Players are developing shipping routes, managing resources, and carefully timing actions to maximize efficiency over the course of the game. And you'll be doing all of this using a Mancala system, similar to games like Trajan or Crusaders Thy Will Be Done. You'll pick up your ships in one section of the harbor and drop them off one at a time in the following sections. Wherever your last ship is placed, that's the action that you will take. You'll also be able to beef up those actions by building buildings or gaining larger, more powerful ships. This is one of those games that the decision space feels tight in a great way. You're always just a little short on something. Actions, resources, time, which forces you to plan ahead and think a few turns down the line. And when you figure out how to make that plan work, you feel super clever. Ostia earns its spot on this list because it rewards smart sequencing and long-term planning without being overwhelming. It's a thoughtful, understated design that really shines with our group.
55.
At number 55 is Jaipur, a game that continues to amaze me with how much tension it packs into such a small box. There's a reason it's been on my shelf for so long and still hits the table pretty regularly. Jaipur is a 2-player set collection and hand management game where players trade goods, sell them for points, and race to control the market. The rules are very simple, but the decisions are anything but. I love the tension that they were able to pack into this little game. Do you grab the camels now to set up a big move later, or sell early to secure those high value tokens before they're gone? Timing is incredibly important, and a single misstep can swing the entire round. Jaipur earns its spot here because it is elegant, fast, and endlessly replayable. It's one of those games that I can teach in 5 minutes and happily play 10 times in a row. And that's not something I can say about many games.
54,
Coming in at number 54 is Ark Nova, a game that really throws in everything but the kitchen sink. Ark Nova is a zoo building game where players are balancing conservation efforts, animal enclosures, sponsorships, and action timing through a really clever card-based action selection system. It's a big game and it can absolutely be a brain burner. What keeps Ark Nova so high on my list is how rewarding it feels when you finally get your engine running. Early turns can feel a little bit restrictive, but once things start to chain together, the game opens up in a really satisfying way. I was a big fan of the card action selection in Civilization: A New Dawn, but unfortunately, that game never really hooked us, so I was incredibly excited to see it show up again in Ark Nova. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that I haven't seen it show up in more games. Essentially, the longer you go between selecting an action, the stronger that action gets. So you're trying to balance what you want to do with waiting for the right moment so that you can get the most bang for your buck. This game has a ton going on in it. There's the action selection, there's engine building, a little bit of worker placement. It really feels like it's trying to do a little bit of everything. And somehow it all works. I also really love how scoring works. You're scoring on two separate tracks, appeal and conservation, that are moving in opposite directions around the board. And essentially you are trying to get your markers on those tracks to cross each other. This is another mechanism that I'm surprised that I haven't seen in more games. It's not a game that I will pull out casually, but when I'm in the mood for something deep and strategic and highly replayable, Ark Nova delivers every single time. I will add a caveat here that I will typically only play this with 2 or maybe 3 players. Otherwise, it can go a little longer than I would like. If it wasn't for that fact, I guarantee this would be quite a bit higher on my list.
53,
At number 53 is The Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, a game that takes a familiar system and gives it just enough of a twist to feel fresh. It's built on the foundation of Seven Wonders Duel, and this two-player game captures the struggle between good and evil through area control, card drafting, and multiple victory conditions. If you've been around this channel long enough, you know that I'm a huge fan of all things Lord of the Rings, and while I was admittedly a little hesitant about this reskin, I really think it does work and it serves the theme well. You're fighting not over points, but over influence, locations, and the fate of Middle-earth itself. I really like how well the theme is integrated. Whether you're pushing the Fellowship forward or tightening Sauron's grip on the map, your decisions feel thematic and meaningful. I like the changes that were made from Seven Wonders Duel as well. The addition of the map and the area control aspect I find much more engaging than the tug-of-war conflict from the original. I also love how tense the Fellowship track feels. As Sam and Frodo get closer to Mount Doom, it really ramps up the excitement for both sides. As Sam and Frodo, you might move forward, but you can never lose the Nazgul on your trail. And as the Nazgul, there's this constant sense of urgency as you see the Fellowship getting closer and closer to their goal. This one earns its spot because it's tense, strategic, and offers a lot of replayability, especially if you enjoy head-to-head games with constant pressure.
52,
Coming in at number 52 is Civolution, a game that's big, ambitious, and unapologetically complex. This is by far the most intense game by Stefan Feld that I have ever played, and I'm pretty sure that I've played most of them at this point. Civolution is a civilization building game where players guide evolving societies through technological advancement, cultural development, and exploration. There is a lot going on here. systems layered on top of systems, and it demands your attention from start to finish. You have a giant menu of actions that you can take, and all of these actions can be upgraded multiple times. You won't have time to upgrade all of them though, so you need to determine a strategy and focus on upgrading the actions that will help you. Also, the actions that will be available to you are determined by rolling dice. So, like any good Feld game, you'll have a million things that you want to do, but you'll have to figure out how to make the best of what you're able to do. But if you're willing to invest the time, Civolution can be incredibly rewarding. Watching your civilization evolve and adapt over the course of the game is deeply satisfying, especially when your long-term strategy starts to pay off. Civolution earns its place here because it offers a rich, sandbox-style experience that feels genuinely epic, even if it's not something that I would recommend to every group. If you love big, complex Euros, though, it is definitely worth a play.
51.
And just missing the top 50 at number 51 is Ra, a classic auction game where players are collecting sets of tiles representing different aspects of ancient Egyptian civilization. The twist, of course, is that the auction can be called for or can be triggered by drawing certain tiles from the bag, creating this constant tension over when to push your luck or when to pull the trigger. What makes it so special is how timeless it feels. The rules are simple and the decisions are tough. You're weighing immediate gains against long-term scoring, all while managing the limited sun tokens that fuel the entire game. Ra earns its spot here because of just how elegant and replayable it is. A true classic that still holds up beautifully. Unlike some other games on this portion of my top 100, this is a game that I'd feel pretty comfortable pulling out and teaching to just about anyone. There we are. We are officially halfway through my top 100 board games of all time. In the next episode, we will be breaking into the top 50, and I can tell you right now that every decision on this list just keeps getting harder. Getting into the top 50 though, these are the games that really defined my taste as a player, and honestly, the games that kind of helped shape this channel in the first place. If you enjoyed this countdown, consider hitting the like button and hyping the video. It really helps small channels like this get noticed. And if you're new here, consider subscribing so that you don't miss the rest of the list as well. And of course, let me know in the comments, which of these games do you love? Which games on this list would you rank higher? Are there any that I am completely wrong about? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And until then, let's get another round for the table.